Okay, overall, I thought it was a solid first practice. And I know our guys were excited to get out there, just like we've done the last couple of years. We had our younger guys kind of observe. We practiced our older guys for 14 periods, and then younger guys, we really focused a lot of time on those guys. And we think that group has a chance to help us. And we think that group, has a handful of guys that could possibly help us early. Couple updates. Tyler Carr, he graduates Saturday, and he is going to go ahead and pursue, his dream, and he will no longer be with our team. But I will say this about Tyler's time here: he's a wonderful young man. He's brought a lot to, his time here at Auburn. We talked to our players about using their influence in a positive way, and I would say I would put him at the top. I mean, he just does a super job. We wish him nothing but the best in his career. Cord Sandberg, our quarterback that recently just signed with us, his brother's getting married, so he will miss today and tomorrow, and he'll be back for our third practice ready to go. A couple injury updates. Eli Stove and Will Hastings, they're progressing very well. I'm not ready to say, when they return, other than the fact that they're progressing very well. Both of them practiced today on a limited basis. Broderius Ham has a little bit of a knee issue. We feel like he'll have a chance to be back before fall camp. Nick Brahms is still recovering from his injury in the spring. We feel that kind of the same way, that before fall camp he'll have a chance. And then DeQuan Newkirk was limited today too, coming off that Achilles, and hopefully we get him, back after a short period of time. But overall, it was great to be out there with our players again and see our coaches, coaching the guys. Our coaches really brought their A game today. Great energy, and so we're 30 days away. I mean, that's the urgency that's a little bit different than it has been, the last couple years. And so we don't have quite as many practices. So when you have the ones that we have, you gotta make the best of it. So that was kind of our message to our team. Questions?
Coach, at SEC Media Days, a lot of your players were talking about wanting to finish, especially on the defensive side of the ball. In the last 2 years, kind of maybe felt like they came up short in the final couple of games. How is that maybe motivating factor going into this season?
Yeah, I think it's very motivating in the fact that the defensive guys, that's what they talk about, and that's what their coaches talk about, and the fact that they experienced it. I mean, they're aware of it and trying to correct that.
Gus, on Stove and Hastings, I think it's way too early to know, but just the fact that they're doing this much so early, and that's got to be quite encouraging.
Yeah.
That even in a limited capacity, that they're on the field day one of fall camp.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And we've I've kind of been telling you as it's been going along that there's been real positive reports on both of them, and they both attacked their rehab really nice. And so we'll see where that goes. But just for them being out there and actually practicing, it wasn't like they were watching. I mean, they actually went through practice, and it wasn't a complete practice. It was limited, but there was some things I thought both of them did well. We'll see what happens. I'm not ready, like I said, to say any kind of timetable, but it's encouraging to have both those guys out there, throwing with Stidham.
Who do you look at to kind of step in for them to kind of try to fill the gap, whether it's Eli with the jet sweeps and the receiving, and obviously with Will Hastings what he did in the middle of the field?
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that the offensive staff, is really wanting to see who steps up, and those are two big time players for us last year. I mean, big play guys, and not to have those guys, I mean that's concerning. But at the same time, this fall camp, to be able to have guys to do what they did, we'll have that plan. Hopefully we'll figure out that sooner rather than later. But I know that Coach Lindsey and his offensive staff is working hard this whole fall camp to solve that.
Who else is going to play at that 3 spot? But you had Devin at the 2 with Ryan. Who's going to be in that 3 spot beyond Griffin?
We're going to move some people around. Cody's got a plan, and he'll probably have a couple young guys. Well, I'm not ready to say. I mean, here's what I'll say. We're going to probably rotate 3 or 4 guys the next 3 practices, and I can probably answer that question a little bit better probably after our first scrimmage. I mean, and really with those type questions about the different things, and then really with our offensive line, trying to get our offensive line in position, where one guy has a certain position and you let him the rest of fall camp get better at that position. We're hoping that happens after the first scrimmage. So there's some areas like that number 3 spot that we have. Sal Canella was the guy that was there today. He's a bigger guy, but I think Chip is just trying to get the most veteran guys out there first and give those young guys a chance to see what they can do. But there'll be a handful of guys have an opportunity.
What would have been your decision to put Calvin guard? We saw him out there.
That's just what Coach Grimes was thinking was best at this time. But he does have the flexibility to play tackle too, and we've done that in the past. You think Braden Smith. I mean, he could play guard or he could play tackle, and so that's not kind of set in stone. But I think Calvin enjoys that, and I think he's looking forward to competing for playing time at that position.
Did Mike Horton take any snaps at center today?
In CQ he did, but not in team. Well, in the quarterback center exchange, pre-practice. I think y'all were out there, I think, during that part of it.
How's he look with snapping the ball? Do you feel comfortable with him?
Yeah.
You need him?
Yeah, and he's the last couple of years, the guards, you always kind of double train them and snapping all that. But as far as team reps and all that, he's not been a part of that.
Try that out in the scrimmages and everything?
It's possible. I know that's one of the things they've talked about, but that's I'll keep you updated if that does happen.
When you say Tyler Carr's going to pursue his dream, you mean he's going to seek a grad transfer opportunity? Or?
No. He's going to, I think it was supply management, chain management. He is going to move forward with that. I think there was an internship that he really just couldn't pass up. And but he has been a wonderful teammate. He has been a joy to coach, really one of my favorites. So we wish him nothing but the best, and we're rooting for him. He'll be very successful in life.
Guys, can you talk about what you guys would like to get accomplished before you put pads on?
Right now, anytime these first 2 practices, when you don't have pads on, it's more of the little things. The little things as far as approach to practice, intensity, body language, coaches really straining them and just learning how to practice. And it's not so much about the plays in these first 2 practices, it's more about the approach. And then once we get in pads, day 3, then you start kind of getting into the good stuff and the plays, and the evaluation mode in pads obviously is completely different than the first 2 days in helmets. And then, from a young guys, I mean, we got some pretty good information today as coaches for the young guys, just like first time for us to really see them out there doing their thing. But, we got some good information from the young guys, but really until we get in pads day 3 for the older guys, it's kind of hard to say, who really is taking that next step.
When will that first scrimmage be, guys?
I believe it's practice 6, I believe. We're going to go 5 practice, take a day off, and then have a scrimmage that next
How's your
day.
Australian punter doing so far?
What's that?
Your Australian punter, did you see him today?
Yeah, he punted one real far. I don't know, it was like real far, but yeah. Well, I'm not ready to make a comment. I'll have to go in there and we'll see his height and his distance and how it matches up. But he kicked one about 70 yards, I think.
Does the football turn the opposite way when he kicks it?
There wasn't very many spirals. Okay, but it went a long way.
How does Jarrett, going into this season, how have you kind of seen him develop as the leader that you wanted him to be, just more comfortable? It seems like he's just energy all the time with the guys.
Yeah, and it's the fact that he really didn't go through spring other than 7-on-7s, all that, and out there for it felt very comfortable. He knows the offense inside and out, and he knows the adjustments, and it just feels different than it did last year, because there was still a learning curve, and so I think he's in a good spot, going into this season.
Let's talk about Colby Fuqua. I know he was maybe kind of expecting to play safety, but he's at receiver.
Yeah.
What are you expecting out of him, and what do you see?
Yeah. He's got a really good attitude, and he's a big athletic guy, and So he was out there today and running around, and I think he did some good stuff. But yeah, when we recruited him, we really felt like he could do both, which sometimes a handful of guys can, and just felt like a little more depth at receiver, but he's comfortable doing both.
Any thoughts just in the interim here of moving anybody else at receiver if you need to, even Noah, for example?
No, we're pretty. Noah could play some offense. Okay, I'll just say that. But the way everything's kind of unfolding, I mean, he's really excelling at corner, but he's capable of playing both ways. I did say that in the spring, and I'll say that again. But with that being said, he's progressing at a very fast rate on defense.
What led to the decision to sign Cord Sandberg, and how do you expect him to fit?
Cord is a guy that when I was a coordinator, I recruited when I was here, and I think we offered him when he was a sophomore when we were recruiting a running back from his school, and came to camp, just really caught my eye. And so I go to Arkansas State, and he signed with Mississippi State, and so just being aware of him, we had a relationship before, and he was considering not playing professional baseball, and he's a really good quarterback, and so chance to get a guy like that. He's a veteran guy, which I think is always good for quarterback rooms and everything. But he hadn't played in a long time, but he's a really smart kid, and he was a very, very good high school quarterback.
How do you reevaluate and set expectations for a guy that's been out of the sport for so long?
The fact that he's an older guy, and it'll probably be a little bit of a learning curve. He knows that, but the fact he was a professional, and he's got a different approach than a high school guy coming in. So we'll see what happens. He's got a great attitude. He's ready to compete. I know we're excited to see what he can do, but it's hard for me to sit here right now and predict how quick his progression will be. But he's a guy that can really throw it. He can really run, and he's a smart guy.
Yes, on Broderius, is that any issue, just the lingering thing from A-Day, the injury?
There is some lingering issues. It is nothing what I would say is serious, but it's been kind of nagging.
And we saw, at least for the first team defense initially, Javon at nickel. We had not seen him that high on the depth chart before. Was that just a momentary thing? Is he rotating the first team?
Yeah, I think there was some rotation going on, but he is a guy that I know Coach Steele's brought up to me numerous times, in the spring and summer and everything with that.
We saw Chandler taking some reps at running back today.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him, take a handoff since I think the Clemson game last year.
Yeah.
Is he going to factor into that?
I think right now he's a veteran guy, and in certain situations, I think he could be very valuable at that position as we're filtering through these young guys until some of them really step up. So, I think it's probably a little bit of a security blanket going in with a veteran guy that can do all the protections. He's a hard runner. And, him and Petway one spring, I guess 3 springs ago, that they both played tailback. And so he has experience. And so, I feel like you could see him do both this year with his traditional H-back, and he could play some tailback too.
Could you sense maybe a little extra motivation off season for a team that you came that close to making the playoffs,
Yeah.
and then it's disappointing?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's been a pretty motivating off season the whole time, and the fact that we do have a lot of leaders back, and they've kept that in front of their teammates and our coaches. How we felt about being that close and the disappointment and all that goes with it, but. It's a new year. I do know that our coaches and our teams are very excited and looking forward to the challenge. I've said it before, we got the toughest schedule in college football. We road games, some really tough road games, and the first game we're playing the number 6 team in the country, and they may be, one of the most complete teams that we play the whole year, if not the most complete team. I mean, they're really good on offense, they're really good on defense. Their coach is exceptional, and so it'll be a good measure and stick of where we're at.
What stands out to you about those freshman receivers, Gus?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
What stands out to you about the freshman receivers?
What stands out to me about the freshman receivers is they're all talented. I mean, they're talented. They can run, they can catch, they have some length. So that's the first thing that I would say when you ask me that question is they're talented.
Harold Joyner was another guy whose position was sort of up in the air. I saw him with
Who's that?
Harold Joyner.
Yeah.
He was with the receivers and tight ends, but we were out there today. Where do you see him factor in?
Yeah, you know, I had a player named Charles Clay a few years back at Tulsa that was very similar size-wise, ability-wise, really played the same position in high school, that settled into that position. And so it's a pretty versatile position that could carry the ball, you know, could throw some quick things, but he has the ability to stretch the field, and he's a big body, you know, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, back to Chandler again.
Yeah.
Does he think like a tailback? I guess that's the right word, run like a tailback?
Yes, there's no doubt he does. And, you know, we learned that 2 or 3 springs ago when we moved him and Petway, you know, from H-back to tailback. And, you know, I think in the spring game he ran a power for about 60 yards. And, you know, he knows the path. He's got really good instincts. And, you know, in high school they ran the single wing and they direct snapped it to him. So he's real good with the gap game, the power, the counter, and the things that go off of it.
And one more.
Two just quick questions. Just how relaxing is it for you as an offensive coach to have Deshaun Davis on that side of the ball, a guy who, you know, they trust to help him on that side, especially Kevin Steele really likes him.
Yeah, you know, Deshaun Davis has been around here a long time, and you know, he's like a coach on the field. I know he gives the offensive coaches fits. He calls out the plays. He knows what's going on. He just knows everything as far as that goes. And that's the way he is in the season too. And just really not just defensive leader. He's one of our team leaders.
And when after practice I came back in, I saw Trey Williams. What, if anything, can you tell us about the role that he's going to play here in Auburn over the next season or so?
You talking about Trey Williams, our linebacker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Trey is going to help us in a capacity. You know, he had surgery, and then he's going to go to the NFL next year. And there's no doubt. You know, I think he would have had a great chance of making it this year, but he had an injury, got DQ'd, and then had surgery. So he's going to help us in a recruiting role, and he'll do a super job. But I really expect him to be in the NFL next year. Great. Thank you all.